between you and me, they done did the McCloskey's dirty. What's happening and salutation, my lovely little lunatics. It's me, your good old friend Insanity. And today we are going to be talking about the epic roller coaster that is the McCloskey's case. Basically, let's put it all down for you. In St. Louis, a group of a couple hundred rioters ended up breaking down a gate and marching onto private property, heading towards the mayor's house. Well, along the way, the McCloskey's, the couple, husband and wife, ended up standing out on their lawn, seeing all these protesters, and once again, by this point in time, everyone knows these aren't protesters, they're rioters. And they've seen all the stuff going on in Seattle and Portland, and they're afraid. So they go out on their lawn with guns. Mr. McCloskey has an AR-15, and Mrs. McCloskey has a little handgun. And the whole thing is, that blows up everywhere as they're defending their lawn kind of thing. And of course you got the protesters, rioters, screaming, "Oh, we're allowed to be here, this is public property." No, it isn't. It's not public property. It's private property. And in Missouri, they have one of the toughest castle doctrine laws. Now, for those of you who don't know what the castle doctrine law is if someone is on my property, breaking into my house, I am allowed to shoot them and kill them. As long as they don't turn around and start running away. Then there's a bit of an issue there. But the whole thing is, due to back in the olden days when slavery just became all that, they had to have a really good castle doctrine law. Because a lot of bad people would come on to the houses of people who were newly citizens and no longer property. And so they had to have that right to be able to defend themselves on their own property. Because in Missouri, if someone, like here where I live in good old Texas, basically, especially with how everything's been going, my brother who's a cop says, if you see someone walk onto your property, onto your lawn, wait. If they raise their hand to throw a brick or something, then I can shoot them. If they come in and start banging on my door and all that, then I can shoot them. Whereas, more so in Missouri, they step foot on your property, you can shoot them. And here's the whole thing, McCloskey's didn't shoot anybody. They didn't. And remember, once again, these protesters are on private property. They broke down a gate to get in. And there's a couple hundred of them. And this isn't some little podunk out of nowhere. No, the mayor's house is down that way. And the house that the McCloskeys have spent a very long time rebuilding, making it look all nice again. And they know, once again, about all the fires, about all the looting, about all the vandalism and destruction. I don't think you want your decade or so long, multi-million-dollar project going up in flames because someone got a little bit handsy and got a little bit too excited, just like at that protest recently with the Not Effing Around coalition where their guy ended up shooting himself and two other people. Ah! But anyway, so you thought that may happen. So, in the end, this blows up everywhere. These two white people standing there with their guns, threatening the peaceful protesters who are allowed to be there. And then, of course, more so it comes out, no, they're not allowed to be there. It is private property. And then you find out, also, the McCloskey's are lawyers. I think it's civil suit lawyers. So, they know what they are allowed to do. And so, okay, so then what was it, Gardner, one of the lawyers, lawyer starts to go after them. She's like, felony, whatever, how dare you point your gun at these innocent protesters, and wants to take them to court for it. And here's the big thing. The police officers who investigated this whole thing hadn't even finished their investigation. It was just, boom, I want to make an example out of you from the attorney's office. So there's that bull. Then the police officers eventually come and take the guns. Even though they've not broken any law. The officers walk in and just we're going to take those guns. And to be honest, in the beginning, the McCloskey's they wussed out a bit. Whereas I would have been like, hell no, you can't take them. So that all happens. And now it's becoming more and more evident that there's a little bit of something smelling quite off here in this situation. And of course, Gardner is now going like, Trump's trying to intervene. People are sending me evil messages. Well, you're trying to put two innocent people behind bars or whatever. You're trying to prosecute two innocent individuals just protecting their land from people who broke in and are on private property. They didn't even shoot anybody. Well, the fact that they dare point guns and all that stuff, just, it's like, I don't, and she's saying, like, if anything's in danger here, it's not the Second Amendment, it was the First Amendment. These people had a right to do this. No, they didn't. Private property. Not allowed to. And of course, they go back eventually again, the writers go back again, but this time the McCloskey's have armed security, which is another thing. What do you think's going to happen when they defund the police? People like the McCloskey's are going to be able to afford the guns for hire. Poor people ain't. Just going to be left to go, go do your stuff. Another funny thing is every time something bad happens, all these people are going, defund the police! Call the police! Where's the police? Oh! Hypocrisy is so thick, I can cut it with my own hand. Ha! There, I finally got through. So, okay, they take the guns, and it turns out the gun that Mrs. McCloskey had was specifically set up not to work. Why? Because once again, they're lawyers, and they were using that gun as an example in a court case. Well, thing comes out showing that, in the evidence room, they wanted to make sure that that claim was correct. Well, it was. And then they reassembled it correctly and said, nah, it was actually lethal the whole time. They're tampering with evidence. The gun at that point in time was not able to be fired. But when they went in and fixed it, then it could be fired. So when she had it in her hand, it was basically a busted prop. It could not fire. And then, of course, the lawyers trying to get the McCloskey's in trouble, they're like, oh, no, we didn't do that. Yep, it came out, oh yeah, they did. Yep, they did. Now the Attorney General, I think it's Eric Schmidt, is just basically saying, no, if they actually press charges, I'm just going to acquit them. This is bull. So, of course, Gardner's getting all upset again, like, oh, it's not fair. He can't come in here and do that. Yeah, he can. When it's obvious all of this is bull, someone could come in and go, this is bull, boot it out. Just like what the federal judge did recently with those cases where they were saying unmarked federal agents, Trump stormtroopers, are coming in, grabbing people off the street and black-bagging them and hiding them away. And the federal judge was like, so what you're telling me is you want me to make it so that they can't protect federal institutions. They were like, yes, that's exactly what I did. And he was like, no. Because it's stupid, and all your evidence says you have no idea what you're talking about, which is exactly the same in this case. So now they're gonna fight this. They're gonna continue on, and honestly, this should be a wake up call to everybody. Once again, Missouri has one of the strongest stand your ground laws. You come on my property, you set foot, one little tiny toe on my property, I'm allowed to shoot you. Yet for some reason, when several hundred people walk onto private property during a time all dressed up, knowing what has happened in other places with these people, how much the violence and destruction is, I'm not allowed to sit there and not even fire a gun at them? This just shows you once again how absolutely hypocritical all this is. Because I'm also betting, if it was a black couple, nothing. They'd be saying, there wouldn't be anything because they couldn't sing praises about them because they're standing up against the rioters. But it wouldn't be this. They just want to make an example out of you. They want you to be afraid to use your given rights. They want you to be afraid. They want you to bow down out of essence of fear. Because once again, thank God the McCloskey's once again are lawyers. They have a lot of money to be able to do this. Because if this happened to me, make a stink about it, but I have no idea how well I'd be able to go up against this. And that's the thing. They're going after these people. They want to make examples out of them. So people like you and me are too afraid to stand up for ourselves. When the time comes, hope to God it doesn't, that something like this happens to us. It's absolutely insane. More so than that, it's disgusting that people think we, the masses, are this stupid. It's not going to go through. They're going to get acquitted. And then you're never going to hear from this in the news again. Because it didn't follow the narrative. They're going to make up something saying it was all them racists that got them acquitted. Because they don't care how much they have to distort the truth. Once again, nothing was decided. Yet this attorney said, bam, we're going to charge you. We're going to charge you. Oh, what are you going to charge me for? Oh, we don't know yet. We're going to charge you. We're going to take your weapons away. Even though you did nothing to have them taken away. We're going to make sure the evidence is in our favor. And anyone who tries to get in the way, we're going to call them racists. We're going to call them misogynistic. We're going to say they are wrong and they need to bend the knee. Most Americans aren't going to bend the knee. Twitter isn't reality. But these people think it is. These people sit around in their own little bubble, thinking that this little bubble is the world. And anyone who comes to try to help get them out of that bubble, they're Nazis. They're the most evil things imaginable. Even though we're right. Let that settle in again. Protesters show up to your house, and you have a right to defend your property. You don't shoot. You just sit there. Defending your property just by being a turn for being there. And then, a few days later, lawyers show up. They take your property. They take your guns. They say you're being prosecuted. Why? Because you are following your state and constitutional right. They don't care. They don't care at all. They will do whatever it takes, twist whatever truth to get the slightest win. And then they'll plaster it everywhere, and they will use the lying leftist mainstream media to get their point out. And if you don't fall to your knees, if you don't beg to the almighty God of political correctness, they will do whatever it takes to crush you. But, like with any bully, you just stand up. I've been bullied all my life. It never lasted long, because each and every time they realized that I would kick the shit out of them for doing that crap. Didn't matter if I got punched, I would punch them back twice as hard. And that's what people need to do nowadays. This shit happens, sue them. Just like, what was it, the one boy? What was it? That's a tale for another time. But, oh boy, is he getting good. He's doing exactly what we all need to do. You need to stand up. Shit like that happens to you, sue them. That's another of your right. So now we know how far they're willing to go to spread their bull. And I'm going to keep looking after it. And I will see you all in the next video. So remember to subscribe for more. ENSane.